Welcome in. It is Friday night on our end, Saturday night at the earliest for y'all watching this. That time of the week again, it is time for the MCT podcast. I know you guys are smart enough to see you have not one, two, or three faces on your screen. This week you have four faces on your screen. We have welcomed in one of our close friends and co-workers of Michael and I's here in Muncie at Best Buy. We have our good friend Carl Ainsworth, aka Gator, down there in the corner. Gator, say hi to everybody. We brought Gator on this week, especially because we are going to be talking about the NFL draft, and that is something Mr. Gator himself lives and dies for. So he was very excited and very gracious. We are very happy and thankful for you to hop on this week as one of our first guests of the MCT podcast. So congrats on that. So Gator's going to get a live look in on how we on the behind the scenes and during the scenes how we do this show. So congrats to you, you lucky dog.
We're so sorry,
guys. It was a big week, such a big week. We're going to kind of break this one up into a few segments. We're obviously going to recap our picks of the week from last week. Then we're going to hit you with some real quick bullet points on some topics from around the world of sports this past week. And then we're really going to dive in. A good chunk of our show today is obviously going to be about, like I said, the first two rounds of the NFL draft, because as we are recording this, actually, the draft is still going on Friday night. So we don't really want to go into what's going on and all that, but we're going to go into the first two rounds because those are said and done. So yeah, first things first, let's recap those picks of the week that the three of us made last week. Do y'all remember what you did last week? Because not going to lie, until I opened up the outline, I was like, I don't remember what my pick was from last week. So
didn't either.
I did.
Yeah, I was like, in case y'all forgot, I went with that Angels-Astros divisional series last weekend. I took the Sunday matinee matchup. I predicted an 8-2 Angels win. I will still pat myself on the back. I did grab that win for myself. The Angels ended up winning that game 4-2, so a little less offense than I anticipated. Just fine. I just was hopeful for a bigger beat down to the Astros, but a win is a win. So that moves me back over 500 on the win-loss record there. I am at 6-5. So right there. And Michael, how does your pick of the week go this time around, Mr. 1-9? Oh, I'm sorry.
So, as you might recall, that I decided to take the potential finals matchup between the Suns and the Nets. And I tried to throw Chris a bone. I'm like, hey, man, I want the Suns to win this game. I'm not going to pick the Suns to win this game because they'll lose. So I picked the Nets to help out my boy Chris over here, see his team take them down. And, the Nets ended up winning. And KD has been electric since his comeback, though, hasn't he? Like, he has been a lot of fun to watch. So,
which I'm pretty sure that was his first game back, actually. So, I think
he went off.
Yeah, I know he had over 30. So it was a good game, solid one, close game to the end there, and then I believe the Nets put it away late. So what does that move you to now, Michael, on your record?
2-9. I got 2 wins.
Awesome.
Yeah.
There you go. Hey, you doubled up on what you had all season so far. So I like it. Tade, what did you have this week?
Well, I remember my pick because I bet on my pick. I picked the Miami Heat to beat the Chicago Bulls on Monday.
Okay.
And that didn't happen. Unfortunately, the Bulls won. So now I'm at 4-6-1. And I like to point out, it's not when Michael picks a team, it's when Michael thinks a team's going to win. So
that's true. That's true.
If you bet on the team Michael wants to win, they will lose. If you bet on the team he doesn't want to win, actually, they will win.
You've got a very good point there.
1 out of 11.
You've got a very good point there, because you're right. He tried to tempt fate and play with the magic and use it for his own benefit, and it did not work. Exactly. Okay, actually, I'll give him credit. You did not try to use it for your own benefit. You tried to use it for my benefit, and I appreciate that. But it was too smart. Nope. So thanks for that, Tade. All right, real quick. I know usually we take some time to deep dive into these topics, but we just have such a big thing to get into with those first two rounds of the NFL draft. So we're going to talk about like I said, the bullet points across like the NBA and the MLB this past week. We saw in the MLB, we saw potentially what may go down as the worst error we have ever seen in baseball. Basically, it was the Brewers and Marlins game this past week. One of them, there was a grounder up the first base line off the bat of I'm a Marlins guy. I frankly can't remember who it is off the top of my head. Sorry.
Okay.
But basically what happened, ball's going up the first base line. Pitcher comes over to field it. Pitcher fields it in the grass in fair play and tosses it to the first baseman who records the out 3 steps before the guy running the baseline would get there. So it's clear as day it's an out. And for whatever reason, the first base umpire who's standing behind the first baseman points over him and is pointing at the dirt. And then all of a sudden says, that's interference. The pitcher was in the way of the runner. So because of that, he's automatically safe. And it's an error on the pitcher. It goes to replay. Craig Counsell, the Brewers manager, comes out of the dugout and is just livid. And it's just like, I don't know what you're doing, what is going on. Nobody understands what's going on, except the only person who thinks anything other than that's a ground out is this freaking first base umpire just standing there and like, you know what? I think he interfered with him, even though he's standing in the grass that he's completely legally allowed to be in, and flipped the ball in front of him and beats him by 5 steps. I still think he interfered with him. The base runner had given up on the play, and he's still like, nope, we're going to call him interfered with. It makes no sense. It still makes no sense. And it's just tack it onto the list of problems that MLB has had with their umpires and with replay, and chalk it up to another reason that you're losing fans in the younger generation, demographic, all of that stuff. It's a bad look for the sport at that point when you can't get a call like that right. I mean, it's more egregious. Okay, maybe it's not more egregious, but it's on the same lines of like messing up that infamous Saints-Rams no pass interference play, where you're like, dude, everybody's watching this play. Everybody knows that was pass interference, except the one official that decided to not throw his flag.
I'm happy with that official not throwing his flag, so it's fine.
Oh my God. Whatever.
You fucking.
God damn it, Tade. So
also, robots, guys. I said it before. I'll say it again. Robots solve all these problems.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, replay was supposed to solve a lot of these problems, and it's helped. Don't get me wrong, but replay is only as good as the human beings behind it that choose to enforce it or get the call right anyway. And you see a lot of umpires that just don't want to admit they're wrong at this point. They just dig their heels in, dig their feet in, and so it's just unfortunate. What other bullet points have you guys seen the last week around sports?
I mean, shout out Bryce Harper for taking a 97-mile-an-hour fastball to the face and hopping right back up.
Oh my God!
Like,
yeah,
I was
couldn't
terrified. Carl, did you see that? Did you see that at all?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Yeah, he literally took it. I took 97 to right here.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, like basically he's batting here, and he like kind of tried to get away from it, and when he turned away from it, you can see it come up like right here underneath the helmet and just pop off, and it was one of those.
Yikes!
Yeah, it's one of those where like if you actually watch the video, just be prepared. It's not great. It's not easy to watch. But literally all you have to do is listen to the audio, and you can hear the 97-mile-an-hour baseball to skin and bone, and it has a very distinct sound of it not hitting the helmet at all to buffer that. It was horrible. So yeah, I'm glad he's okay. That's always a scary moment. Always one of the scariest things that can happen in the world of baseball.
The pitcher on the very next pitch too hit Didi Gregorius. I didn't actually see that. I didn't see it in the video that we watched. He hit Didi the next pitch.
Really?
So I don't know if he was just shaken up about it or what, but he just a slider that went too far.
I wouldn't blame him. Yeah, I wouldn't blame him at that point. To be honest, I would not blame him at all. That's crazy. Tade, how's the NBA look this last week? I haven't really, since the Pacers are kind of embracing the tank, I've kind of tuned out just a bit.
I mean, teams are starting to get faded from the playoffs now.
Yeah.
Minnesota's as of right now, since the Brooklyn Nets are going to lose tonight, they have the longest winning active win streak right now at 5.
Like 3 or at 5. Wow. That's impressive.
They've been doing well. Yeah. Warriors
awesome.
said we're in playoff mode, and then they keep losing too, so that doesn't help.
that's their playoff mode the last couple of years. So they're right where they were.
Yeah.
Don't worry, they've got they at least are going to get that NBA MVP, right? I mean,
Michael, Steph Curry's getting MVP still, right?
Hey, Carl, what have you seen around here?
That's what I thought. Yeah, Carl, if you didn't catch our last episode, we had a nice little debate on the NBA, who we thought the MVP was going to be. When I pitched the segment and basically brought it up, I was mentally like, well, we'll talk between like Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, and that's about it. Nope, we got Michael over here who's like, Steph Curry, he shoots so many threes. He's got to be the MVP. I was like, oh, my God, this guy. That was a good time. Yep.
Russell Westbrook needs the MVP. He's averaging a triple-double again and leading those Wizards with Bradley.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. It'll never happen, and it shouldn't happen. But honestly, this season, I would rather see Julius Randle win the MVP than like Steph Curry.
Same though.
Like what he's done to lead those Knicks back to even just relevance is super impressive and a lot of fun. I mean, it's baseball is better when teams like the Knicks are better. It's a big market. It brings more eyeballs to the sport. I mean, in comparison to baseball, it's just like another New York team. It's just like the Yankees and even the Mets. When those teams are good, you have more eyeballs on them. Same thing in football, guys. Believe it or not. I mean, the Giants, and the Jets kind of as well. But when those bigger market teams that you're used to seeing, or you've got history, storied franchises, when those kind of franchises get out of their rut and back to relevance, you always get more fans, more eyeballs, more primetime games for those guys. I can guarantee you if the NBA season ended today and the next NBA season started in a month, the Knicks would have 10 times the primetime games that like the Pacers would get. Rightfully so, but it would just be the way of the world because, hey, when the Knicks are relevant, ESPN's going to throw cameras on them because it's the Knicks. So, and they've been fun. It's not like they don't deserve it. They've been a lot of fun. They had a 10-game win streak, I believe, at some point. So, like, at least 9 I saw. So, yeah, I mean, it's fun to have different teams in there. So, I do enjoy that. All right, anything else from the wide world of sports this week? Like I said, I kind of tuned out of the NBA a little bit. I'm getting way ramped into the NFL. We're finally kicking into about that time where the NFL gets going. Obviously the MLB is still, only a month, not even a month into the season. So really we haven't seen a lot yet, except a lot of fun things. I mean, we've seen Vlad Guerrero Jr. with a 3 home run game, which is super fun because that's one thing is he's already done at age 23 that his dad never did in his Hall of Fame career. So shout out Vlad Guerrero Jr. That's really impressive, really fun. So
Joey Votto, number 300 today.
One thing for NHL.
Yep. Okay.
Seattle Kraken made their final payment, so they'll be an official NHL team now.
Oh.
So that start next season, I assume then? Or
no idea, but they'll be in the Pacific Division when it happens.
Okay.
But they made all their payments now. They're an official team.
Woo! Awesome.
Sweet.
Always
Gator,
fun.
what about you, buddy? You got anything?
Nope. I'm ready for the NFL.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it. Let's listen to the man.
Gators taking a week to get through an NFL fantasy draft, so that's all he's been looking at the last week.
He's got the rookie draft coming up next too.
He's not.
I know.
So we've got the actual NFL draft tonight, and then our rookie draft in that league starts next Saturday with 4 rounds, 24 hours per pick.
Jeez. Yeah, Tade, literally, that's why it took a week. They legitimately had 24 hours at the start for each pick.
That's
crazy.
So long.
Yeah.
Why?
So it was a startup league and a dynasty super flex, and we did veterans only in the first draft, and it was 26 rounds, and it's a 12-team league.
So it was a long time. My favorite part was like Carl, he kept telling me we were at work and he was on the clock. And he's like, I got buddies that keep texting me to make my pick already. And I was like, dude, you have like 22 hours. Tell them you're at work. Like, you'll get to it. Like, relax. You got time. What are they trying to rush you for? It's not like your 24 hours is winding down finally. I'd have been like, man, every text they sent me, I'd spend 10 more minutes. Wait, just, you know what? I know who I'm going to take. We're going to wait 10 minutes now.
Okay.
Oh man, but yep. So that's a lot of fun. I know Carl's definitely looking forward to his rookie draft because he's got 3 of the top 10 picks right now. So it's very exciting. Speaking of those rookies and those top picks, let's get into it. Here's what we're here for. Here's the meat and potatoes of today's episode, guys. We're going to talk not 1, but 2 rounds of the 2021 NFL draft. So first thing I want to say, how awesome is it to, as much as I enjoyed the virtual draft of last year, how nice and refreshing of a sight is it to see and hear fans booing Roger Goodell, people in a controlled venue with a green room, and you've got your top picks coming out and handshaking with Roger Goodell, grabbing jerseys, giving a hug. You got fans in some kind of recliner sitting there for some reason, watching the first picks. Nobody knows. This is 2021. We're just doing things now that we can finally do.
Return.
So just a super breath of fresh air for the first round to see that. Just one of, hopefully a million signs to come that we are semi trying to get back to a normal sports world at least. So good to see. But let's dig into it. So no surprise, right, from any of us that Trevor Lawrence goes number 1 to Jacksonville. I know there was some it kind of reminded me of when Andrew Luck got drafted and there was that like talk that they might go RG3 instead of Luck, but everyone was really like, no, there's no way they don't take Andrew Luck. And then of course they took Andrew Luck. So I feel like that was kind of what was going on in Jacksonville, where they're like, everyone's says he's going to take Trevor Lawrence, but then all of a sudden, Urban Meyer gets hired there, and they're like, is he going to take his Ohio State guy in Justin Fields? And you kind of heard these small rumors that you always tend to hear around the NFL draft time. But when the Jags went on the clock, I think everybody's going to agree that they made the right pick in Trevor Lawrence. Not saying he's going to have the best career out of these quarterbacks that we saw drafted yesterday and today, but there's just no way you pass up on a guy like that, especially when you're a team like Jacksonville who's got holes literally everywhere on your team. So you theoretically locked up your franchise quarterback for, you hope, the next 10 years plus. So a great number 1 overall pick there by Jacksonville. I don't think they can be any happier with that pick. I'm looking at a tracker now. CBS obviously gives it an A+ grade, so take that for whatever it means. Let me ask you this about that pick then. So how much does Trevor Lawrence instantly improve this 2-win Jacksonville team?
Well, you see, when you're at the bottom, there's literally nowhere else to go, is there? I mean, I was just blown away by anybody who had any doubt that Trevor Lawrence is going to go number 1 overall. Obviously, me being an Ohio State guy, I would have loved it. Who was it that said that since Tim Tebow might be joining the Jaguars, the Jaguars would go Kyle Pitts at tight end.
And at what? Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing. I was like, you guys are insane.
They're just gonna go grab every Florida guy. They're like, you know what? We're not taking Lawrence at 1. We're gonna go with like Fields at 1. We're gonna get Kyle Pitts. We're gonna bring Tim Tebow back. Some point we'll go get Kyle Trask for some reason. Screw it. We'll just go grab every Florida and Ohio State guy we can get and just mesh everybody together. Screw it. And Jacksonville wouldn't be any worse than they were last year. So, but
I mean, make you happy though. Did you see the guy who bet $29,000 on Trevor Lawrence going number 1?
Oh, that's a dumb
just
bet.
To make $60.
That's so
yeah.
dumb.
I was like, I don't know anything about betting, and I know that your odds on that one are not great, so you're not going to win anything.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
like, that's so stupid. Because then
he ended up with $29,060.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know what?
We're all just idiots.
Yeah, but if Urban Meyer was dumb, then he would be like, "Oh man, they picked Fields. There goes my 29,000."
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if you lost $29K when you potentially were only going to make $60? Oh, that's insane.
I get why like millionaires
60,
or like professional gamblers with a lot of money will do that, but like it's 60.
Oh yeah,
bucks.
yeah.
I can move the chains.
It's there you go. I see what you did there, tying it all in. Okay, all right.
I mean, I made a better bet when I bet on the first 5 to get drafted, and I got that right. That was plus 900 odds. If you had put $29,000 on that, let me do the math. Give me 1 second.
While he's doing the math, Gator, what do you think of Lawrence going 1 overall? I mean, obviously, I'm not surprised by it, but
I mean, obviously, I think that makes the Jacksonville Jaguars definitely a better contender in the AFC South, but I still think next season they finish third.
Okay.
Behind, I think they'll finish behind the Colts, and I think they'll finish behind Tennessee as well. I think it really I 100% think they'll beat the Texans, especially if Watson doesn't play.
Yeah.
Okay.
If Watson doesn't play, the Texans have no chance at all in the AFC South or anything of making the playoffs. But yeah, I think he significantly improves that team automatically, and I would say maybe even second place in the AFC South, depending on what Tennessee does at getting some more weapons on the offense, which so far I haven't seen much.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's true. We've actually talked about Tennessee previously on the show. And I'm kind of on board with what you were saying about them, just because their offense, as good as it's been the last few years, and I want to give once again, another shout out to Ryan Tannehill, who's kind of resurrected his career since going to Tennessee, and he's played better than I think a lot of people expected him to play on his own. But that offense goes through Derrick Henry, which is great because he is a monster. But the problem is running backs get used and abused and run into the dirt, and you can't do that for that long in the NFL. Running backs have a shelf life of 3 to 4 years. So, as much as you hate to say it, Derrick Henry is, it's really weird because as much as he is in his prime right now, he also is kind of statistically would be on the downside on the backside of his career. So it's just really weird. And then to put your entire offensive game plan behind that running back who you're like, hey, if he doesn't run the ball successfully 30 times a game, we're in trouble. So they need Tennessee, as good as they are and have been, yeah, they've got some question marks just because you got to find a way to share the load that offensively from Derrick Henry. So I can see that. I can see if Tennessee has, if they take a step back and Jacksonville, if Trevor Lawrence can do even half of what, say, like Andrew Luck did his rookie year when he took that 2-win Colts team to an 11-5 record without a very good roster around him as well. Absolutely, they could find their way to win 6, 7, even 8 games right now as currently constructed, which is kind of crazy to think about just because we watched how bad Jacksonville was last year. To think of that team potentially even going 500, I think is a minor miracle, and just a shout out to how good people expect Trevor Lawrence to be. So quarterback goes number 1. We actually had a quarterback in the first 3 picks, which is kind of cool to see. So Zach Wilson to the New York Jets at number 2 after they trade Sam Darnold away to Carolina. So Carolina gets hopefully their answer at quarterback. Sam Darnold gets a fresh start out of New York, which I think is going to be good for him. But Zach Wilson, who had arguably, I'd say, the most impressive pro day we saw this year, to shoot his draft stock way up to that eventual number 2 spot to the Jets. I mean, that throw that he made in his pro day, guys, I know it's a pro day in a controlled environment with nobody pressuring him or anything, but still to be able to be on the move like he was, throwing cross body, hit 65 yards down the field on a dime right where he wanted to put it. I mean, that's the stuff of legends. That's the stuff that you'll hear about 15 years from now, regardless of how his career plays out. I think that's the stuff that, we'll see that highlight way down the road. I mean, that reminds me of like Jamarcus Russell throwing 70 yards from his knees, on his, wherever it was. And even that I saw that clip this past week of Andrew Luck at his pro day throwing 70 yards with the flick of a wrist. So, I mean, that kind of throw that Wilson made, I think is right up there. So I like the pick for the Jets. It's an interesting one for sure, though. I don't think he's as proven as you might like a number 2 overall pick / franchise quarterback to be. But I think his ceiling is there. What do we think of Zach Wilson at 2?
I like the pick because that man, it's a good thing you bring up that pro day shot, because that man's going to be running for his life in New York. Like, let's be very clear here. So he's going to have to make that throw a lot.
It's true.
But I mean, I still don't think that the Jets have had some really, really, really bad head coaches over the years. And me and Carl were talking about the other day that, like, you know, we don't think like that Sam Darnold's a garbage quarterback. It was the system he was in. So I think he's going to have all the talent in the world. They've already drafted him like a couple weapons already. So he's going to have all the talent in the world around him. It's just a matter of if the coaching staff can actually develop these players and make them into something other than a laughing stock since the butt fumble.
Yeah.
Butt fumble.
Carl, Tade, what did you guys think of Zach Wilson at 2?
I mean, for me, I'm not super huge on Zach Wilson. Obviously, we all know at this point. I don't know what I just did here, but there we are. But for me, we all know that 5 QBs went in the first round, and I've got him ranked. I've got him ranked at 4 of the 5.
Okay.
So not huge on him, but obviously I could be wrong. So
Sure. It's like I said, it's an interesting one. I think like I said, his pro day shot his stock back up. But then you have to take into account too, he played at BYU. It is what it is when you're coming from a school like BYU. So it's a toss up. And obviously we're talking about, I mean, this is the thing that's tough about draft day analysis and picks, if you will. You're talking about 21, 22, 23-year-old kids that aren't proven finished products yet, unless you're talking about a Trevor Lawrence or an Andrew Luck, who is as close to a generational talent as you're going to find. Outside of that, everything is a crapshoot. I don't care what you're picking, who you're picking, where you're picking them for. And a lot of stuff also comes down to team fits and schemes. And like Michael was saying, you know, the Jets have had a lot of different coaches in the last few years, and they kind of ran Sam Darnold out of there without really giving him much of a shot. So, you know, it's easy to blame the player and the quarterback when you set such high expectations for these kids. I don't want to go into too much of a rant here, but yeah, I said it last night when we were all kind of talking during the draft that I don't really like what, what we've seen, the trend recently of drafting these kids in the first round, expecting them to be ready to go week 1 and take the league by storm, instead of giving them time to develop and grow and make those mistakes and grow into being an actual NFL quarterback. The last guy we've seen really do that, I still think, is like Aaron Rodgers. And think how long ago it was since Aaron Rodgers got drafted, where he's at 2+ years behind Brett Favre and just got to learn and wasn't thrown into a game, had no meaningful snaps in those 2 years. So the fact that we just don't see that much anymore, and then these kids are evaluated and or traded 1 to 2 years down the road, or talked about as being busts so early in their career. It's unfortunate. Yeah, Josh Rosen, exactly. Drafted first round in Arizona, and then got traded, and is now the 3rd quarterback really on the depth chart in San Francisco, and he's still only 24 years old and hasn't really had a shot to play. So it's so tough to see there. But we'll see how it goes. The Jets, I think, much like the Jaguars, have nowhere to go but up, which is great for a kid like Zach Wilson. I don't think the expectations are going to be nearly as high on him as, say, Trevor Lawrence at number 1, who's been lauded as the number 1 pick for probably damn near 4 years now, feels like. So, with Zach Wilson going to a team with such low expectations, that might be in his benefit, where he can still kind of develop and grow into being an NFL quarterback. So that'll be cool. As Carl mentioned, we had 5 quarterbacks go in this first round. Number 3, quarterback out of North Dakota State, going to San Francisco, and Trey Lance. So a really interesting pick for a lot of reasons. What's the quarterback situation right now in San Francisco, where you're thinking, guys?
Bye-bye, Jimmy G. Bye-bye, Josh Rosen. Don't need him.
I mean, it's a weird pick. I didn't get it at all. We all saw it coming. Everything kind of started leading towards a quarterback with San Fran there. But they were talking so much like, oh, we're committed to Jimmy G. Jimmy G's our guy. This is our guy. Just like the infamous QB1 tweet, Chicago. But I didn't get it. And I mean, he could easily step in there. He's kind of like a young Jimmy G without $100 million contract attached to him, which is what I feel like it kind of leaned to.
I love that pick for the 49ers, honestly.
Oh.
I don't think he's going to be a week 1 starter by any means. I think Lance still has a ton to learn because he didn't play a whole lot in college, to be honest with you. But
Sure.
I think he has all the talent in the world. I think he'll sit behind Jimmy G for maybe half the season, maybe this full season, but he will be the starter in 2022 for certain, in my opinion. And Kyle Shanahan's scheme, I think, is just the perfect fit for him. And as I was talking about my rankings earlier, I actually put him ranked as my number 2 QB in this draft.
Nice. Okay.
Really? You don't say. Huh?
The last thing, last thing I'll say on Trey Lance, what I really like for him is going to San Francisco. I felt like whatever pick San Francisco went there, if they went with a quarterback, whoever they went with at 3, is going to go into far and away the best situation roster-wise in the first round, because you got to think they may have been the 3rd worst team last year record-wise. That's why they have the number 3 pick. But man, they were marred with injuries. And the last time this San Francisco team was healthy, they were in the Super Bowl with a 4th quarter lead against the Kansas City Chiefs. So you don't go to a better set up roster as a top 3 pick. It just doesn't happen. You usually go to the Jacksonvilles or the Jets of the world who need a lot of help when you're drafted that high. So the fact that he gets to go there to a team that he doesn't need, he's not going to sit around, he doesn't need to wait for the roster to be built around him. He's already going to a built roster. And like you said, Carl, he gets to learn from Jimmy G, who's been there, done that, been to the Super Bowl. So obviously he's got a lot to learn from him, and Kyle Shanahan's going to have a great scheme for him. So I like the fit really well for Trey Lance. I think the situation is great. I'm hoping for his sake that San Francisco has the patience to sit on him and let him kind of rough out those edges. And I think he could be, I'm assuming they drafted him at 3 because they see him as the franchise quarterback down the road. And who knows, maybe somebody will trade for Jimmy G and help clear up some of that cap space and keep San Francisco in it. But yeah, that team got a lot scarier, I think, with that number 3 pick. Perhaps the most exciting pick, in my mind at least, of the first round had to come at number 4. You want to talk about, this is probably the most excited non-quarterback prospect I've heard about in the last handful of years. Kyle Pitts out of Florida, who is technically a tight end, but listen to this, guys. He's 6'6", 240 pounds, but he looks slim. He looks like Calvin Johnson, and he lines up everywhere. He may be a tight end, but they had a graphic last night. He caught basically the same number of balls lined up in the slot, in the wide receiver spot, and out of like a halfback blocking, like a typical tight end slot. So, Florida had him all over the place. He was definitely, obviously, Kyle Trask's down in Florida, number one option. He was his security blanket. He ends up going number 4 overall to Atlanta. And we saw the stat last night pop up that he's the highest drafted tight end since, what was the year, Michael? Like 1960?
Yeah. It's absolutely insane. And what's even better about this, and I just want to bring that up, that Kyle Pitts has already announced his jersey number. He's the first person to just said, I'm just going to wear 8. I wore 84 in college. Just wear 8. Who cares?
That works.
Tom Brady is just seething right now.
Right, because that's dumb.
Yeah, that was dumb when he complained about the numbers changing.
What a boomer thing for Tom Brady to complain about, by the way. To have like 6 rings and be like, they're gonna change your jersey number. That's not how it was 15 years ago. That's not right. Yeah. Whatever.
It's literally a jersey number. Who cares? Like what position
it is
it's for?
Oh my gosh.
Pick your favorite number.
It is funny that for a player who's already been established or whatever, who has to change if he changes his jersey number, he has to basically buy out the inventory of the old jersey number. Yeah. So it's going to cost some of these guys millions of dollars to change their jersey number. And Tom Brady still wants to complain about it. Yeah. Like, clearly, if somebody cares that much that they're willing to spend $5 million to buy all the other jerseys and then do God knows what with them, just to change the number, let him. Who cares? Who cares?
It's like when Paul George did it to change it to PG-13.
I loved it.
Yeah, it was great.
I love that.
He like gave
That
it
was
to a
great.
bunch.
I got a PG-13 jersey hanging in my closet right now. I am.
I think
muted.
I have
Oh, no, not.
I actually, no, you're good. I actually have a 24 jersey somewhere.
Same.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts, super exciting. I bet Matt Ryan is just absolutely foaming at the mouth of the possibility of getting to throw to him. And I really wonder what Julio Jones is thinking. Like, I wonder if, because there was already some rumors that, they would be looking to maybe trade Julio Jones after June 1st, when it would take less of a contract hit for the team to do that. And now when you go and get the best pass catcher in the draft at number 4, Julio Jones probably has to think his days are numbered in Atlanta. Now,
Yeah,
whether he cares about that or not, obviously he still has, I would assume he still has gas in the tank. And if he were to go somewhere else, he's still Julio Jones. But yeah, you got to wonder if he's thinking that his days are numbered there. What other, so I've got one, but I want somebody else to go. What other like top 10 pick did you guys really enjoy? What did you guys, I don't want to go through all of them. But what was there another top 10 pick that you guys really liked the fit or you didn't like, or didn't understand? What are the top 10 pick kind of caught your guys' eye?
Carl, go first. You're the guest.
I
Yep.
honestly think in the top 10,
Mhm.
you already said Kyle Pitts. That was my favorite pick in the top 10. But besides Kyle Pitts, I think Devontae Smith to the Eagles is probably my favorite pick there. I think it helps their offense tremendously. Jalen Hurts wanted it. I think that team offensively improved a million times.
Yep.
So I think they'll be contenders again this year. But yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's funny because that's exactly where I was going to go. So I love it. We're on the same wavelength. Yeah, I love the Devontae Smith pick from Bama to Philly. I know there was a lot of talk about he's only 160 pounds. It don't matter. He's a route runner. He's a pass catcher. His hands work. He's an elite receiver. He's going to get separation. I saw comparisons last night to like Devontae Adams. So guess what? Devontae Adams doesn't beat you with physicality and strength. He beats you with quickness, route running, and creating separation. And that's exactly what Devontae Smith does.
You can't tackle him if you can't catch him. Exactly.
He could be my size. He could be 5'2" and 150. But if you can't catch him, then it don't matter. He's still in the end zone for 6. Yep, I love the pick there. And then I especially loved it when I thought about it. And I was like, oh, yeah, like you said, Carl, Jalen Hurts back to Devonta Smith. That's awesome. That's a college connection coming to the NFL. That's always fun to see. There's hopefully, for Philly, they're thinking there's your Peyton Manning to Marvin Harrison, connection for the foreseeable future. I absolutely love the pick there. The other one that I liked, if I'm not going with Devonta Smith, at number 7, Carl, your Lions. Grabbed easily, I think, the best offensive lineman out there in Penei Sewell. So sorry if I butchered that name. I'm sure I did. The O lineman out of Oregon. Listen to this guy. He's 6'6", 330. He's a monster. Just an absolute monster. I saw basically a little talking point, a little quote today, and I wish I could remember who it was from. But basically, one draft analyst or somebody said the closest they have to a surefire Hall of Famer in this draft class is that offensive lineman Sewell. So Detroit goes and grabs the best offensive lineman. You got to remember they just brought Jared Goff in that Matthew Stafford trade. So Detroit could be, they're putting together a solid thing. You got to protect Goff. That's the way to do it right there. It's not a sexy pick, but you know what? The Colts have been a different team ever since they took Quentin Nelson at 6.
True.
3 years ago. They've been a completely different team base since that moment. It wasn't a sexy pick, but nobody's questioning it here in 2021. So I don't think people are going to be questioning that pick here pretty soon. So I really like that pick as well. What did you guys, Tade, Michael, what did you guys see in the top 10 that you liked?
So I have a slight 2-parter. One's a pick, the other one's the reaction. So I think Green Bay needs to pick up a phone, call Cincinnati, and ask them about what it means to listen to their franchise quarterback. Because Joe Burrow was publicly saying, I want my guy. He kept putting it on Facebook, Twitter, you name it. Like, he wants his guy. And they go out at 5 and they get the best wide receiver, I feel like, in the draft in Jamar Chase. And that's a matchup that LSU destroyed college football with just 2 years ago. So, and Jamar Chase was phenomenal last year. And so I feel like especially for a team like Green Bay, who is their quarterback's asking for weapons and just not getting them. Even though I still feel like Green Bay made a decent pick, but Jamar Chase and Burrow, that's going to be terrifying in Cincinnati for the 2 seconds that Joe Burrow was able to stand. The other one,
three D linemen on him. Yeah.
Did y'all see what happened when Jalen Waddle got picked? Did y'all see the video going around?
No. Oh, where he just got up and just
straight walked out, walked straight out.
He's got like 10 people around him, and they all like lose their mind for a second, and they're hooting and hollering. And he's just like, "Cool, I'm gonna go get this bread," and then like gets up and just goes.
He's that's like that crowd that's right. Like, "Oh, remember me when you make it." And he's like, "Nah."
He made it. He's
what
gone.
Do you mean? Yeah, I was like, "What do you mean? What do you mean when I make it? Like, did you not hear that phone call? I just made it. It's not when. It's like that just happened." Oh man, yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a fun one. I didn't see that till today, but that was a lot of fun. Tade, I'll open it up to the top 15 for you, Tade, because I feel like we really gave you like a couple options to talk about. So
yeah, Michael really took my last one here, so thanks a lot there, buddy. I'll give us one top 10, and then I'll drag us into the next 5. First, I want to say I got the top 5 right in a bet. So, and if they had bet on the top 5 to get it correct instead of betting it on Trevor Lawrence, they would have gotten a profit of $261,000.
Holy shit.
If he had made that bet to pick the first 5, which I got right, so he could have gotten it right too if he listened.
You're talking about that $29,000 bet on Trevor Lawrence going 1. So if he had placed that bet on the top 5, he would have made a profit of, what was it again?
$261,000. Yeah. I'm feeling upset. I didn't put all my, because I won that bet. I should have put all my money on it.
Oh man. Okay.
TikTok guy I listen to.
Oh my God. Well, all right. While I recuperate from that, talk to me about your top 10 pick.
So I'm gonna go number 9, Denver Broncos taking Pat Surtain the second.
Okay.
I just thought the story was kind of funny how the GM was like, "Oh yeah, we were trying to put smoke screens around. People think we're gonna take a quarterback so we can snag him to bolster up the defense." Which, good for the Broncos because they traded for Teddy Bridgewater, so they don't really need a quarterback right now. They can just patch that up. They can wait till next year. But it's good to snag up good defensive players to bolster that powerhouse Denver Bronco defense because Von Miller's coming back.
True.
But throwing us in the top 15 now. Let's go talk about the Bears guys and trading up in the draft to get the one, the only Ohio State's Justin Fields instead of Mac Jones. Why would they not draft Mac Jones?
They got the second best quarterback in the draft. That's bait.
That point, it's very much bait. At that point, when you trade up like that, man, you can't miss. Especially when you're the Bears, who 4 years ago traded up one spot to go to the number 2 pick and ended up with Mitchell Trubisky. You can't miss. You can't miss on this one. This is, you got to think
though.
No, you got to think. You got to think for real. Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy got their jobs on the line. They make this trade. They go up to 11. Everything for those 2 men at least, and this franchise is writing on the name on that card. Even if he doesn't pan out, I'm telling you right now, they made the right choice. They were aggressive, and they took their guy that should be better. Whether it plays out is a different story. But today, you can't. I don't think they made the wrong choice here. When you make that aggressive of a move, you've got to go and get the guy that you believe in. And I think Justin Fields is that guy. Who, like you said, he could have gone. 3 quarterbacks got drafted before him, and I'm surprised by that because he could have gone top 5 easily. You got to remember, 6 months ago, this kid was talked about. Before this past season, it was basically Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields right there. And then nothing. All Justin Fields did this past year is go out and win the Big Ten, destroy Clemson in the college football playoff and
win the Big Ten.
I mean, fair enough. So the Big Ten win the Big Ten championship game. That single game, that one. So threw 6 touchdowns was it that game or one against Clemson? He threw 6 touchdowns.
Clemson.
Either way, yeah, the Clemson game. He threw 6 touchdowns. I mean, this kid, it had to be Justin Fields at that point. You don't trade up. If they were sold on Mac Jones, they don't trade up. Is the thing today? If they,
that's the thing. It's a horrible GM and a horrible coach making the decision. That's the issue. They're horrible at their jobs. They don't know what they're doing. Mac Jones was the best QB prospect left on the board, and they picked the wrong guy. There's a reason all of us say the Patriots stole the show when they picked Mac Jones. It's unfair. Why is this unfair? Why did the Patriots pick the next Tom Brady? This is ridiculous. I'm talking about the Bears being so smart and picking Justin Fields, training up at 11 and giving away more draft capital.
Did y'all see that? Speaking of Mac Jones real quick, did y'all see that pic floating around on Twitter that was like, well, Bill Belichick definitely has a type when it comes to his quarterbacks, because they had that infamous Tom Brady picture of him standing shirtless next to his, old school draft sign, and then that picture of Mac Jones shirtless. Yep. And I was like, oh my God, that's great.
That's when you know it's a real athlete right there.
There you go. In terms of that though, I'm glad. Personally, I much rather the Patriots ended up with Mac Jones. Like, if they had ended up with Justin Fields at 15, then I really would have been like, bleeping course they get Justin Fields at 15. So I'm glad that the Bears traded up. I think they made the right move. Like I said, we're a day away from it. There's no way of knowing right now who's right and who's wrong. We got to give it 3+ years really till you really know. But I think right now, Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace made the move to save their asses in being that aggressive and going and getting who they hope is their franchise quarterback. I mean, all you have to do, Tade, I know you're not on Twitter, but all you got to do is go on Twitter and check out 5 minutes of Bears Twitter, and I have seen nothing but positive, happy things about that pick. So that means something. Whether it translates to the field or not, that means something, at least in terms of Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace's job at this moment. So I think they made the right move for being that aggressive and trading up. They gave up a lot. To move up those 9 spots. What was it? Next year's first, a 4th and a 5th.
Yeah. And when that trade happened, I immediately said, like, they're taking a quarterback. And y'all were like,
no way
I don't know. Like, no, you
no
make that
way
kind of move. Yeah. Quarterback.
Because Andy Dalton's their guy.
Oh, yeah. QB1.
Yeah, QB1. There's 2 problems with the Bears taking Justin Fields here.
Okay.
Number 1, Justin Fields is an Ohio State quarterback, and the track record of Ohio State quarterbacks in the NFL is boo-boo.
Get him! Throw those facts.
Slay him!
Number 2, the Chicago Bears have had one franchise quarterback in the history of their entire team. I just don't know.
Drag
them. Do not have a very successful track record with the quarterback.
So here's the thing. Wrong. I'm obviously gonna say that Justin Fields is a way better prospect than Troy Smith was, even though Troy Smith was a Heisman Trophy winner. Cardale Jones, we don't talk about. Just ever. We don't talk about Cardale Jones. He took the hype of being that 3rd string quarterback to win the national championship, and he got the bag and he got out. Like, that was it.
Drafted by Buffalo, to be specific.
I completely forgot he was drafted by. I just saw him like bounce around the league and just like, cool, XFL later. And couldn't even be a starter in the XFL.
No.
Dwayne Haskins, I still feel like needs time. The Washington football team is an absolute freaking dumpster fire.
He's a dumpster
fire.
And
I feel like in Pittsburgh, I feel like in Pittsburgh, he's going to have a lot better of opportunities with or more of a player's coach and a better weapons around him in Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin. And he's learning from Ben Roethlisberger, who is not the greatest quarterback ever, but he's won rings. And if he's going to learn from anybody, I feel like he learned how to kind of grow up around Alex Smith. Ben Roethlisberger is going to teach him how to be at least a decent quarterback. He just probably shouldn't take dating advice from him.
Jerome Bettis won rings.
They're not wrong there either. You're not wrong there. And also, do not get me started on Super Bowl 43. We don't have time. I don't have the energy.
We all agree with you.
Carl,
Actually, I've got the energy. I have the energy, but
he was out of bounds. We
He's
know,
all
Chris.
jacked up on Mountain Dew.
His
So
foot
hold on,
never
hold on.
touched.
Hold on,
His
I want
foot's
this on the
still
record.
floating in the air. It's never
Carl.
touched. It's been 12 years. It's been
Did
17
Antonio
years.
Holmes
No.
make the catch
Holy
in
crap.
Super Bowl 43?
No.
Yes. Yes. Vindication. Yes. So, okay, back on track. So the Justin Fields pick, I think, was the talk of the first round for sure. With it coming with the trade up and being the biggest move we saw last night. And I mean, shout out to Andy Dalton. He's still going to cash that $10 million check, and now he doesn't even have to play 16 games for it. So
He even brought Nick Foles into it on Twitter. He's like, "Yeah, they still owe him $9 million too."
That's why the GM's not smart. He's got how many quarterbacks now? He find a good one.
One of them's got a hit, Tade. You keep throwing at the board, one of them will stick.
I'm sorry. I thought last night statistically it's bad if I keep doubling down my bet. But throwing darts at the board for quarterbacks is gonna work. I'm sorry. How many did it take Cleveland? 28.
It's something like that, yeah. But look, eventually they got it right. Okay, look, it worked.
After 28 for them. How many's gonna take the
worked.
Bears?
72.
Jay Cutler was their best quarterback, and they threw him aside because
that
he's not
says a
winning.
lot. That says
Rex
a lot.
Grossman
By
got him
the
to
way.
a Super Bowl. Throw him aside.
Oh man,
All right,
timeout.
that's
Flag on
it.
the play.
Hold
Brian
up, hold
Urlacher in the
up.
defense. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, and Devin Hester. Just saying. But okay, I could have quarterbacked that team to the Super Bowl.
MVP Mitch
Sexy
Trubisky.
I was in 8th grade, Tade, and I could have quarterbacked that team to the Super Bowl. I was like, you think I'm small now? I was like, but
Nah. You would have looked at Bob Sanders in the eyes, peed yourself, and just would have walked out the field.
I mean, yeah, I said get him to the Super. No, I said get him to the Super Bowl. I didn't say
fair.
through the game. I would have looked at Bob Sanders and been like,
Broncos. I didn't win that game with the Broncos defense.
I'd have been like, my face is smaller than your bicep, sir. I'm gonna go sit over there. You have a great day. Much respect. All right. Is there anybody you guys want to talk about in the top 20 before we get to that Colts pick at 21?
Let me see if I can pull
my
up the.
stuff back up here.
I gotta hurry
Go
before
for
my
it.
phone dies.
I really
Dude,
like.
yeah.
Really quick, I really
Yeah.
like the Rashawn Slater, the offensive tackle that the Chargers took.
Oh, okay. At 13.
I think that really improves their offensive line. I think that really opens the door for Austin Eckler to have an even better season than I anticipated him having. I feel like he will be a top 5 back in the NFL this year now.
Okay. I like that. I like that a lot. Especially, yeah, again, you talk about a team building on a young quarterback, Justin Herbert. All he did was go out and basically be the offensive rookie of the year last year. So he's got a very high ceiling, and he looked really, really good last year. A lot better than I anticipated him coming into his first year there in I almost said San Diego, but out in LA. So but yeah, I mean, teams are, I don't want to say all the credit in the world is to like the Colts and Quentin Nelson, but I feel like that pick kind of like opened NFL GM's eyes to be like, look, you can take these guys in the first round, and like it's a good thing. I promise you, it's a good thing. And so now you're seeing linemen go higher and higher in the first round. Their value is obviously going up. They're going to start getting paid more and more. Oh my God, I can't wait to see what Quentin Nelson, when he gets the bag, he's going to get the bag. He's going to get 7 bags. I mean, it's going to be crazy what they have to pay that man. But yeah,
at this point, he's going to be a left tackle, I think.
All the pass rushes.
I really hope not, just because I know how good he is, and he probably would be a solid left tackle, but like you move him to left tackle, you don't know what he's exactly going to look like. And you still have now you have 2 holes on the offensive line, or if you just leave him where he's an all pro, then boom, you got that. You can go get a serviceable left tackle I mean, you can do some patchwork there and get it taken care of. But yeah, that Slater pick was a sneaky good one out of Northwestern. I remember seeing some of his highlights and film and whatnot. So yeah, that's a good one. Obviously, we talked about Mac Jones at 15. The Zaven Collins pick for Arizona, the linebacker out of Tulsa. I heard a lot about him a little bit, that he's just kind of another one of those hybrid defensive guys who can rush the passer, who can run block, who can drop back in coverage. So Arizona's defense, guys, I'm telling you guys, look out for Arizona this coming year. They're going to be a problem for a lot of teams in the league. So, all right. Anybody else?
The Texans roster, so
a good half too. Anybody else top 20 before? I know we all got a lot to talk about with 21. So
smart for the Giants to trade down to 20. That was smart.
Yeah,
but who they picked at 20 confuses me. Darius Tooney.
Yeah, that was
see
weird.
The reaction of the fans on the draft last night.
Oh, yeah, they were confused as hell. Like, who is this dude? Like, it's Philip Dorsett 2.0. Like and that's the way. That's what it reminds me the most of. Because at first, you heard me say it last night, like he looks a lot like Percy Harvin.
Sure.
But the more I think about it, like, how long is Danny Dimes really gonna have to throw to this dude?
Yeah.
Like, you're basically gonna have to use him in quick screens, quick outs, use him in punt returns, and he's just gonna get demolished.
Well, it's better than picking him up in the top teens. So.
Fair.
Yeah, where at least they traded down and still and got some additional value for him.
If they took him at 11.
Oh my gosh, if they took
That'd be bad.
That's very true. All right. Well, we'll feed you baby birds. I know you've been waiting. So 21, these guys right here, the horseshoe, Colts on the board. I'm going to go ahead and first off, retract my statement. I said for like 2 weeks now when we talked about this that I was like 100% Ballard's trading down. There's no way he picks at 21. I really didn't think he was going to pick at 21. I really didn't. It just made a lot of sense theoretically for him to trade down. One, obviously he's very comfortable doing it. He does it every year pretty much. Two, they just made the trade to get Wentz, so they actually gave up draft capital. I really expected Ballard to try to recoup some of that by trading his first rounder away this year. But you know what? From the more I read about this kid that they ended up taking at 21, the more excited I get. I'm not going to lie to you guys. So they end up going with an edge pass rusher. So Robert Mathis foaming at the mouth when that pick came in. Kwity Paye out of Michigan, Michael, out of Michigan, Colts first rounder.
I don't know what school he plays for. As far as I'm aware, he plays for the Colts now.
There you go. 6'4", 272. Basically, the scouting on him that, I've looked up in the last 24 hours because, heard that name and I was like, who? Is that who? But
I knew.
Everything I've seen on him is essentially he sounds like a Ballard guy. He's a high character guy and raw athletic, untapped potential. And from what I saw, basically, he was near the top of their board, of the Colts board, for a while, and they were kind of surprised he was there at 21, so they snagged him. They weren't really talking about trading down, and with him still being there at 21, they said it was essentially a no-brainer that they were going to go with this kid. So I'm excited. Obviously, one of the Colts' biggest needs outside of left tackle is pass rushing, is edge rushers, because they definitely have the defensive tackle line filled up with DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart, but they need edge rushers. They need guys to get to the quarterback and bring him down. And this kid had the most quarterback pressures in all of college football. He was PFF's top-rated edge rusher in college football last season. So the ceiling is really high for this kid. Man, I just can't wait for him to get in the room with Robert Mathis. Ooh. If Robert Mathis gets to fine-tune this kid, watch out. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And just speaking of, though, I would also like to say we were all so confident, but did y'all see the clip going around where Ballard picks up the phone? It's John Dorsey on the line. He goes, Did you up your offer? No, we got work to do. Just
all right, we're working. So I was reading a little context about that call. So apparently John Dorsey calls him every year anyway. It's mostly for kicks and giggles. From obviously back in their Kansas City days. So he calls them pretty much anytime they're on the clock just to be like, how's it going? What's going on? You having a good time? Like, dude, we're on the like, we got stuff to do. So I think it was more of in good fun than it was a legitimate like, you know. But it's still a great little clip. And oh my god, I can't wait.
Fun
I love
way.
all of. Oh yeah, I love all of those behind the scenes clips of the Colts War Room. Did you guys see the one floating around last week when you guys remember when the draft was down in Tennessee 2 years ago in 2019 and Pat McAfee had his legendary pick. Yeah. And so they finally released the footage of Chris Ballard in the War Room watching Pat McAfee make that call. Oh my God. It's amazing. Chris Ballard is dying the whole time. He's just like, oh Pat, oh my God. Like they're just dying, and it's amazing. It's absolutely incredible. You have to go and find it. It's like 60 seconds. It's way worth your guys' time. Carl, what'd you think of that Colts first round pick?
Don't talk to me. No, I'm just kidding.
We're working.
No, I didn't up my offer. I'm sorry.
You guys all heard what I had to say about it. I was very disappointed that they didn't go with an offensive lineman. I felt like that was the number one priority for the Colts, and I felt like they destroyed any chance that they got for a top tier lineman. Obviously, I do feel like the pass rush was the second thing we needed, but we should have focused on a offensive lineman. But we'll see how this kid does. If he does well, I mean, I'll recant what I said last night, but.
Sure.
I was pretty upset.
Yeah, I mean, and you weren't the only one. You weren't the only one that was a Colts fan that was either upset or just kind of confused or think that the priorities aren't where they should be. Kind of what I heard or was reading to kind of counter that was more of Chris Ballard's mindset. Maybe like, hey, my top tackle that I want is this guy, and I've got him valued at. I think I can get him still in the second or even third round or whatever. So why would I reach for that guy who I'm not as high on when I can take who I'm going to reach on in the first round and still potentially end up with the tackle that I want and be okay. So who knows? We'll see how it all plays out. Obviously they do need a left tackle. It's not a secret. They need somebody there serviceable, whether it's still in the draft, in the mid rounds, or if it's through free agency, or both. I know a lot of Colts fans I saw on Twitter, especially today, and we'll get to it in the second round pick, are like, well, Chris Ballard's lost his mind, doesn't know what he's doing anymore, and not getting a tackle, and there's just no, and I'm like, dude, we're not even through 2 rounds of the draft yet. Like, he can definitely still go get somebody, or there's all the free agency still to grab, an established guy out there. So I'm not hitting the panic button on the left tackle situation just yet. I'm a little closer to obviously to where I was. I would have liked maybe in the first 2 rounds, to take to some kind of tackle. But like I said, the more I read specifically about this kid, Kwity Paye, the more excited I get just for what he may bring to the team. So yeah, Tade, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with Carl on this one because, like,
okay.
I mean, we could have either traded back, gotten 2 picks in like the second round, maybe if we wanted to get 2 defensive players. Maybe Chris Ballard saw a kid from like a small town school and thought, oh wow, no one's gonna notice this guy. I'll pick him like the 5th round. He'll be our new starting tackle. And maybe he found a gem that way and he's just not telling us. I mean, as they always say, trust the binder. Big dick Ballard. So I mean, I'm not too worried about it. But I kind of am, because Carson Wentz is made of glass and we have to protect him. And we cannot split Quentin Nelson in 2 because then he'll be half as good.
Could we just clone him? Can we just grab a second one of him, though?
Be like Dolly the sheep. Just go, be made. Quick. No, yeah. We should have taken an offensive, lineman first round. But oh well.
Yeah, I mean, the kid that went at 23 to Minnesota, Christian Darrisaw, the offensive lineman out of Virginia Tech, was basically the name that I saw that, like, hey, that Colts Twitter was like, if you're going to go with an offensive tackle at 21, that was the kid to take, and he ends up going 2 picks later. So who knows where the War Room, where they ranked those, where they had those 2 slotted. So tough. It's another one of those picks that kind of prove that like it's so hard to judge these picks the day they come down or the day after they come down because you just don't know. We just don't know how any of this is going to shake out. All right. How about the rest of the first round? Anything really catch your eyes? Don't worry, Michael. We'll talk about 29 here in just a minute. So we'll get into all of that because that's a whole story. But anything else in the first round that we want to talk about? Anything else catch your guys' eye?
Just 29.
Okay. Carl, you see anything? I know we talked last night. You like that pick at 24.
Yes, I really do like Najee Harris. I think he has a good shot at. I know he's going to be the starter in Pittsburgh, and I think he's got a good shot at 20 plus carries a game. So, I think he's going to be really, really good. And to be honest with you, I think Travis Etienne in Jacksonville is also a solid pick as well. And I think he'll eventually. He may not be the starter now, but I think he will eventually take over that role. And it's another connection with him and Lawrence. So
yeah. Do you see with Etienne and James Robinson? Could you see maybe like a Maurice Jones-Drew and Fred Taylor kind of 1-2 punch there in Jacksonville?
I mean, the way they made it sound last night, the way Urban Meyer made it sound last night was the James Robinson and Carlos Hyde are going to be the 1-2 punch, and Etienne is going to be the third down guy. They think that he said that he thinks that they're going to have one of the best running squads in the NFL, which is very possible because Carlos Hyde he's older, but he's still reliable.
I'll take slight offense to that statement by Urban Meyer just because he doesn't have the best running back room in the AFC South. That belongs clearly and forward to the horseshoe. So Jonathan Taylor coming into year 2, bringing back Marlon Mack after his injury loss season last year, and with Nyheim Hines, that's a tough running back room to beat. All right. Yeah, but I did like those back-to-back running back picks. I know Tade really loved those back-to-back running back picks at 24 and 25, as he was starting to sweat a little bit. Our man, you'll be shocked, audience, to know that Tade had yet another bet on the NFL first-round draft last night. He had bet that he had bet that there would be 2 running backs taken in that first round, and so through 23 picks, he was still waiting on that first one. And Carl, I think Carl put him at ease because he called it as it was happening. He called it before it happened. He was like, look, Najee Harris is going to go to Pittsburgh. And then I bet you Jacksonville's going to take Travis Etienne. And man, he couldn't have been more right. And Tade breathed a nice sigh of relief and got a few more dollars in his penny account. So
I got $20 out of that first round. I'll take it.
There you go. That's a couple lunch meals right there. I'll tell you what.
Exactly.
All right, let's do it. Michael, are you ready? Let's talk about 29. So the Green Bay Packers have a first-round pick at 29. They have a quarterback who goes by the name of Aaron Rodgers. Yes. As of this recording, they have a quarterback by the name of Aaron Rodgers. Comes out at like 4 p.m. yesterday, around late afternoon, a couple hours before the draft kicks off. Adam Schefter tweets out, Aaron Rodgers unhappy in Green Bay. Has gone so far that he's told teammates, I'm not coming back. So obviously, I mean, that is a mic drop, a bomb, a nuclear bomb dropped on Titletown up there in frozen tundra at Green Bay. And so, then all of a sudden you gotta get into your draft. The Green Bay Packers have to go into their war room and kind of push that story to the side and go and make a first round pick. So we're all sitting here and we're like, well, Green Bay's on the clock, and this pick right here is gonna tell you if Aaron Rodgers is in fact the quarterback of the Packers or if he's out the door. Because if they don't get him a wide receiver or some kind of help, that's kind of a middle finger to him, really. And what do? They go and get a cornerback out of Georgia, Eric Stokes. Now, granted, a very solid pick, a very solid prospect. Fits a team need, even with them re-signing Kevin King. Now you've got a nice 1-2 combo in the cornerback with Jair Alexander and Eric Stokes. I get all of that. It helps out tremendously for the team aspect. It really does. It's a solid pick. But, man, it feels like a double middle finger to Aaron Rodgers, being like, "Oh, you don't want to come back here? Do you want some help? Well, how about a corner? The best I can offer you is a corner. Sorry." And I mean, so it was a wild night in the rumor mill up there in Green Bay. So who knows? But you almost feel bad for the kid because it's not his fault he got picked to Green Bay. And if anybody goes out and blames him for any reason, I mean, that's just ridiculous. He didn't obviously do anything.
Why did we so good at football?
Yeah, I mean, how dare you be one of the best quarterbacks in this draft class? How dare you?
Did you see what San Fran offered Green Bay before the draft started for Aaron Rodgers?
I heard something like it. What was the actual package?
They offered them like 3 first rounders and the pick of their choice of any defensive player on their teir
Wow.
And Green Bay.
So they could have gotten Pete Werner, their inside linebacker. Oh, they could have gotten Bosa.
Yeah, that's what I heard anyway. That's what I heard anyway. They offered him 3 first rounders and a pick of any defensive player on that squad.
Richard Sherman now. Oh my God.
No.
Richard Sherman's not even there anymore.
I know. I don't think he is.
What makes it worse is
wow.
One of the wide receivers I was really high on in Elijah Moore was right there. And everyone's like, okay, well, at this point in the draft, he's the best wide receiver available. Like, Green Bay's got to go out and get this kid. No. And, I mean, I know we're not talking about it, but something did happen in the 3rd round, but I still don't think it's enough. And it's not a great fit.
Sure.
But I don't get it. And I mean, it's not like, I don't think they're trying to. Obviously, they've made it very clear, like, they're not going to trade him. Fine. He can just retire and go do Jeopardy. You think he cares?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that story today that he's going to mull retirement at this point. And I mean, again, frankly, I don't blame him. He's what can he do at this point in his career besides winning another Super Bowl to solidify his own personal legacy? I mean, he's going to go down as one of the all-time greats, one of, if not the most just talented quarterbacks the game has ever seen. I mean, if Green Bay's not going to put the right pieces around you, you should have the leverage to walk away if he doesn't want to be there. So, yeah, I mean, the Green Bay fans shouldn't be surprised that Green Bay didn't take a wide receiver, only because they have literally never put a first-round wide receiver with Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. So why would they start now? But yeah, it still did feel like a slap to the face or a middle finger, like a specific shot at Aaron Rodgers to go and get a cornerback, and not even like an offensive lineman to replace the center that they just lost, or to get some depth behind like Bakhtiari, who's going to be coming off a massive injury. So yeah, it was an interesting pick. All right, let's move right into the 2nd round. So starting with the 33rd pick, Jacksonville's back on the clock. They take Tyson Campbell, cornerback out of Georgia. And then, as you mentioned just now, Michael, right there goes Elijah Moore at 34 to the Jets. So a really nice pickup there for the Jets. So they paired their brand new quarterback with a brand new receiver. I like that fit a lot, going and getting Elijah Moore, who again is a smaller wide receiver, listed here at 5'9", 185. So, but you know what? CBS has it graded as an A level draft pick. So that's got to mean something, right? So Elijah Moore gets to go to the Jets again with Zach Wilson there. So a nice, hopefully again, a 1-2 punch wide receiver quarterback duo that the Jets are hoping leads a lot. What did we see in the first 10 picks or so in the 2nd round that caught your guys' eye? This is really where you find some gems and everything. So what'd you like in the early 2nd round?
I like Javonte Williams to the Broncos.
Okay.
I mean, Melvin Gordon's getting older. The Broncos didn't re-sign Philip Lindsay, so their backfield was pretty limited to start with. But I think they have a good offensive line, and I think Javonte Williams brings a lot to the table for them.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like we talked about earlier, Carl, just the simple fact that a running back shelf life is 3 to 4 years anyway, so you almost always are needing to churn out fresh legs and new guys, take a shot on a guy. So I think second round and beyond is a great time to just pick up some depth, some quality pieces in the running back room that you hope can just be an impact level guy, and not even necessarily like an all-time great or a generational guy, but just, man, the second, third, fourth round and everything is where you find just solid roster filling pieces. And so running back is definitely a spot. Again, you're almost always looking for additional depth or a better fit or something like that.
So I know it's going to be a little bit later than like the top 10 picks, but I genuinely loved that Rondale Moore pick to Arizona.
Oh,
like,
dude.
You don't like it, Carl?
No.
You're shaking your head.
No. I like Rondale Moore, but not in Arizona. I mean, you got DeAndre Hopkins. You got AJ Green, what's left of him. You got Christian Kirk.
Yep.
I mean, I just don't see where he fits in at this point.
Well, they normally go 4 wide, right? Or 4 or 5 wide. So, I mean, there's going to be opportunities, and it's just a matter of who do you cover now,
right?
Which the answer is DeAndre Hopkins.
Sure. And here's the thing too, if like you said, they got AJ Green on a 1-year deal and what's left of him, so you get Rondale Moore this year, again, it's you stash him away for a year and let him learn. I mean, imagine being a wide receiver coming to a team and getting to just sit on the bench and watch and pick the brains of AJ Green and DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, is there more valuable knowledge to be had as an NFL wide receiver right now from those two guys? They've seen it all. I mean, they've been through the absolute ringer in their combined careers. Now, granted, they can't tell you a lot about playoff success, but they can
shots fired.
They can absolutely teach you how to be an NFL wide receiver. So I like the pick a lot. It is definitely, I think, a luxury pick. It is not an immediate impact. He's going to be that guy that puts us over the top tomorrow. But I think it's a great pick for if you're trying to look in the long term or the longer term, I guess. Tade, what do you think? Anything catching your eye?
Miami taking an offensive tackle in the second round. I thought that was a pretty smart move on their part.
Did they get Eichenberg?
Yeah, they got Eichenberg. That's who it was.
That was a great pick.
Yeah, like Tua needs help in protection. I mean, they traded away Tunzel like 2 years ago, so they need to bolster that line. They have money to spend, money to sign. Good pick on their part. I think it's a solid way to build their team. They won 11 games last year. They can build on that.
Carl, what second round pick caught your eye?
Oh, I'm looking. I mean, man, there's a few that are kind of catching my eye right now.
Yeah,
that are later in the second. I don't understand, number one, why the Colts took another defensive end in the second.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, so
I mean, did y'all not see Robert Mathis's draft plan? You think he just kind of slipped that in? I did notes.
Somebody, all the comments after that second pick came down, and it was another defensive end. All the comments were like, "Okay, did Robert Mathis like kidnap Chris Ballard? Like, is he holding him hostage in some undisclosed location?" And like. That draft plan was great. What was it? It was like pass rush, maybe a tackle, guys
pass
who
rush.
Pass rush, guys who want to get the quarterback, guys who hate the quarterback. Like it's all pass rush. It was fantastic. That pick was the real head scratcher. Like if you thought 21 was a head scratcher, whoo, were you in for a ride at 54 where they take Dayo Adeyingbo. So sorry. It was an edge.
But they had trouble with that one.
Yeah, who is an edge Another edge rusher, as we mentioned, this time out of Vanderbilt, 6'6", 280. Is that 280? Oh my God. God, this kid.
And he was on his way to getting first round status before he got hurt.
Basically, that's the issue. Is he was essentially building his case to be a first round talent, which is great to hear that he potentially even has first round talent. The problem is in this offseason, he tore his Achilles. He's not expected to be back. At the earliest would be, I heard, like October, to be even close to getting back to football shape. And that seems like a quick turnaround for an Achilles. So that's, I think, very, very hopeful when you're talking about recovering from an Achilles. So who knows with him? That definitely, once again, felt more like a luxury pick. I know the Colts pass rush specifically has not been, let's face it, has not been good since Robert Mathis and Dwight Freeney left. They have not had solid guys to go and get the quarterback really ever. They got one good random ass year from Eric Walden, and that's about it. And you talk about the last like 6 or 7 years. And obviously I know DeForest Buckner changed the game last year, but the fact is he's still a defensive tackle. His job is to stop the run, get pressures, and bust plays up. It's not necessarily to bring the quarterback down. That's what your edge guys are supposed to do. So I understand they need multiple pieces there. One guy's not going to get it done. It was definitely very interesting to not even trade back out of the second round and still go get this cat later. Just coming off his injury, he was probably going to sit for a little while. So that's a definite head scratcher one when, like we've talked about, they've got some glaring needs as well, still sitting there at tackle, among other things. So it's interesting. I'll say this again, like Tade said earlier, trust the binder. Ballard knows what he's doing, guys. No one really seems to understand it at the time, but everybody take a breath. Ballard knows what he's doing. I saw guys, this is what I wanted to I saw guys on Twitter today after the pick before we got recording that were like, well, Ballard's clearly drunk and lost his mind and has no idea what he's doing. And I was like, well, let's not go that far. And, they're like, he just has no idea who he's drafting at this point. He doesn't know what's going on. They're never going to get a left tackle now. And I was like, we're in the second round. Like, it's like, there's still plenty of time to do stuff. And there's all of free agency. Like, breathe. Colts Nation, just take a breath. It's okay. It's fine. Like I said, it's a definite head scratcher of a pick at this moment. But you know what? So was Darius Leonard. Darius Leonard was talked about. There was an article posted by Bleacher Report after the draft that said Darius Leonard was the worst pick in that draft. That's it. Just a little friendly reminder of that.
Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yep. And 2-time All-Pro now. Should have been 3.
True.
But 2-time All-Pro. Worst pick in the draft. So, a very interesting one. I do want to talk about one that I thought was a really, 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 really great pickup and a great fit. At 47, Asante Samuel Jr., coming out of Florida State, cornerback, going to Los Angeles, those Chargers. I mean, the Chargers are really trying to put something together here. I've liked their picks so far. They're protecting Justin Herbert again with that first-round pick, going and getting Slater, that tackle, at 13. And then now bolstering up that defense, getting a young cornerback back there who, I mean, you want to talk about, like, learning from somebody. Imagine being Asante Samuel's son and just getting a lifetime of experience from Asante Samuel on how to play professional football. So shoot, I love that pick a lot. And then at 52, the Browns trade up and grab that linebacker out of Notre Dame, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Again, so sorry about the pronunciation. I am not cultured, so I am so sorry that I don't know how to pronounce that name. But he was another great one that was lauded coming out of Notre Dame, just a big hulking linebacker at 6'1", 215. So there were definitely some interesting picks there in that second round. And so, yeah, and then late second round, at 62, Green Bay does go and add some offensive help. They go and get their hopeful replacement for Corey Lindsey, center Josh Myers out of the Ohio State. So Yay. Whoop-dee.
There's not even
But-
anything left in this cup.
Good.
So, let's see. So there are 2 rounds. What I guess let's see. What picks have we liked the most? What picks have we not liked? I know we kind of talked about what we didn't like, but what picks have we liked? Let's try that. Let's start negative. Let's start negative so we can end positive. What picks did we not like? What picks did you like the least?
Oh,
Carl.
Quiddy pay.
That's
Nah, I'm
fair.
just kidding.
That's fair.
Honestly, I think my least favorite pick in the draft so far has been. I don't know. You put me on the spot.
You're good.
That was the
I
point.
don't like it. I don't like it.
If somebody else is ready, then we'll give everybody some time.
I'll go.
Okay, go ahead,
My
Tade.
least favorite pick, number 4. I mean, I like the pick because it helped me win a bet, but I don't like
Sure.
the pick because I don't think it was good. Kyle
him
Pitts,
in the
number
eyes.
4 to Atlanta. Atlanta
Explain
isn't
yourself.
a tight end
Explain
away
yourself.
from winning anything. So why do they pick him?
He's
They're
an
obviously thinking
Yeah.
about building for the future, not building for now, because the team
He's
now
the
is
best.
trash.
Because he's the best available player at 4, far and away.
Yeah, he was probably the best, like the second best player in the entire draft.
But they could have drafted a QB to replace Matt Ryan and just traded Matt Ryan away for other picks. That would have
They'll
been better.
Or-
treat him as more of a slot receiver than a tight end, or they'll run
Yep.
2 tight end sets because Hayden Hurst isn't terrible.
No, he is I disagree. He's a game changer. Basically, at that pick at number 4, if you're not going franchise quarterback, what are you looking for? You're looking for a game changer, and there was no game changer out there better.
Odell Beckham
Yeah.
Jr. was a game changer. Trace McSorley was a game changer. And what happened to those guys when they were picked high? 13 and
I
2.
mean, Odell Beckham Jr. is still an all-pro
I mean,
wide receiver.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
like,
but he's not
And
going to win
Trace
you
McSorley
games.
is Trace McSorley.
Trace McSorley's hurt now. He's broken.
You see Carl
Trace Mc-
snap his head.
Trace McSorley was good for 1 year before the Giants broke him. Now he's broken. Christian McCaffrey, another game-changing player. He's
Oh,
kind of game
wait.
broken now.
Trace McSorley didn't play for the Giants.
I think you switched up.
You
No,
got
Trace McSorley's
Trace
on the
Mc-
Giants. I mean, not Trace McSorley. God,
He's on the
Saquon
Ravens.
Barkley.
He's
not
on the
Trace McSorley.
Ravens.
Saquon Barkley's.
Wait
what
a
I
minute.
meant.
Wait. Oh my God. So,
Saquon Barkley's broken.
No, he got hurt one time. He's not broken.
He's broken now. They
Been
broke
injured
him.
the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, he hasn't played a lot.
You haven't played a lot.
I haven't.
He
I'm
played
not
like-
an NFL player. Saquon
He
Barkley was
played
great his
like
first
a week
year.
and a half last year, and then the season before that, he was injured multiple games as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the Giants broke him. Also, why did you guys
But
think
those
when
are-
I said
but-
Trace McSorley, you thought he was great?
But that's but yeah, I was confused. But that's a running back. Saquon your Kyle Pitts is. I mean, again, running backs have a
But
shelf life of 3 to 4
Game
years, no matter how good they are.
changers is what we're talking
Yeah.
about. He was a game changer until he got broken.
He's still he's still gonna be a
Broken.
game changer. He's still gonna be a game changer. In the NFC least, he's still gonna be a game changer. Okay.
Did you say NFC least?
Yes, I said the NFC least.
NFL analysts are calling Kyle Pitts the best prospect in the past decade, and probably the best prospect in the next 10 years.
Okay.
This is
And-
so Carl, welcome to the show. This is what Tade does. He tries to, there's the fork in the road, and there's the free money and the candy and the lollipops and the easy pick right here on the left road. And he's like, nope, I'm gonna take these spikes, I'm gonna blow up all 4 of my tires, and I'm gonna roll there, and you're still gonna just watch me do it anyway. You know why? Because F you, and I do what I want. So
The
that's
Falcons won't
so-
win anything with him.
Oh my
Just saying.
God. But who are they going to take at 4 that's going to win them something if it's not a quarterback?
A quarterback. That's what they could have taken. him
Who?
for. They could have
You
taken
think-
Mac
are you
Jones.
telling me- You
Oh,
think Mac
God,
Jones at
no.
4? You think Mac
No,
Jones at 4 is
no,
going to be
Chris,
more
this is
impactful than
fake.
Kyle Pitts?
Quarterbacks are more
Dude,
impactful than tight
no,
ends.
stop.
Even if they are game changers.
but-
Look at Odell. They had to pay him so much money that he was useless to the Giants.
Yes, but now he's an incredibly important piece in a resurgent Cleveland team
Not
that
really.
wouldn't
He
be
was injured
nearly
this
as good
year.
if they didn't have him. Yeah, but
He's been injured both years.
I mean, last year
useless.
they were better without him.
Yeah. So that's also a bad thing because Jarvis Landry's their best receiver right now because he's healthy.
Good talk.
And you could say, oh well, because he has the
Good talk.
the best defensive player is always on Odell. The best defensive player was always on Ty, but he got passes thrown to him pretty rapidly and easily.
Dropping a few of them.
I mean, he's not Kobe Fleener, okay? Stonehand's Kobe Fleener. I miss Kobe.
Earl, what's yours? Let's get Tade off this road.
Get out of here.
I forgot what we were even doing, to be honest with you.
What picks you may not have liked that aren't Kyle Pitts and 4 that makes the most sense to every other human being out there. Oh my goodness.
I had one picked, but now I can't remember what it was because you just
Thanks, Tade.
You're welcome,
took
guys.
me way out in left field.
Oh my god.
It's gonna be a long episode, fellas.
Pass.
I mean, if I had known, here's the deal. If I had known Tade was going to say this, I would have just been like, okay, here's a half-hour segment on why Tade's wrong, and we would have just been ready to go for that. Oh my gosh. I will tell you this much, Tade. Jake Ray is probably not going to be happy with you. I'm just going to let you know that right now. I'm just going to let you know.
Florida boy, of course.
I know. I'm just going to let you know. Shoot. And of course, my phone. Go for it. My phone died, so it's going to be interesting for me. So we'll see.
Shout out
over
to
there.
the Patriots for getting the most overrated quarterback in the draft and the 3rd round prospect of Mac Jones.
They didn't get what?
That man
They
walked
get
up to the
Justin
stage
Fields at
like he was
15?
gonna tattle. There goes what's Chris doing?
He's got a Charger.
Okay. I thought I just like made him lose his mind.
No,
honestly,
I already,
like
that was already Tade, so it's fine.
Nothing Mac Jones has done has made me think that he should have been drafted as high as he did. But what Bill Belichick wanted was another Tom Brady, and that's what he got. A noodle-armed, unathletic, just he's going to dump it off to the running backs 20 times a game, and that's all you want. Fine, take him at 15.
Tom Brady.
How many rings does Tom Brady have?
Too many to
I didn't say he was going to be as
Another
good as Tom Brady.
You said
but
another Tom
Brady. At least
Brady.
Tom Brady could push the ball down the field, especially when he had guys like Randy Moss.
I should have.
So can Mac Jones in college.
I should have known better, but man, I really didn't expect this segment to turn into like a let's just dig on these poor kids. These poor kids that are just trying to live their lives and are
It's
way
also
more
because it's on
successful
Patriots.
than any of us are going to be.
Next time they shouldn't be public figures then.
Oh man. Oh my gosh. I'm still over the moon about the whole
Patriots
Kyle
have
Pitts thing.
Hunter Henry. They have Jonnu Smith. They have Jacoby Myers, which is good. They have N'Keal Harry, which has all the talent in the world.
And just sucks.
Other than the fact that last year Cam Newton was throwing to him. Who else do they just got Nelson Aguilar, do they not?
I think you're right. I think they did. Yeah.
Deep threat.
Yep.
So,
last year in
right.
Vegas
they're
was
not
a really
terrible.
big resurgence for Aguilar. I will say that.
Yeah. So I didn't even think about it. So because I kind of forgot that they actually re-signed Cam Newton to a 1 year, like $14 million contract this time around.
Well, Cam's starting.
I mean, of course, it's still going to be, I think, Cam's year this year. Like, do we expect to see Mac Jones this year at all, realistically?
No.
Not unless Cam gets hurt.
You think so, Carl?
Yeah, I expect to see him about halfway through the season.
Okay.
Now we're going to see Jarrett Stidham.
Oh, my God.
Y'all remember that last year? Like, no, we don't need another quarterback. We got Jarrett Stidham. This man's a stud. Carl, you get one yet?
Todd, you really
I
don't like
thought we were
Kyle
done
Pitts at
already.
4.
Oh, are we done? We're done. We don't have
Trevor
to.
Scales. And he's
We don't have to keep going. We are.
No, I'm
rolling
curious
along.
if there's another one that you guys.
I mean, the one I made the most fuss about was Justin Fields, just because he's an Ohio State quarterback going to the NFL.
Got him.
Carl, I know where you live.
Look at that face. Look at that face.
Look at him. That's a good one.
No,
It's a
actually,
solid
honestly,
one.
I don't hate Justin Fields. I just don't like him going to the Bears.
It's Soldier
Okay.
Fields. Soldier Fields.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I don't think I had one. I mean, honestly, if I had to pick one, it's is that pick at 29, the Packers getting that cornerback. I just, like I said, I really felt like it's just a slap in the face to Aaron Rodgers. As much as he might fit the team and might be beneficial, and he's going to help out that defense, and it's not on this kid at all to like. It's not his job to sway Aaron Rodgers to come back. It's all that pick in my mind. The reason I don't like it is it's all in the front office. It has almost nothing to do with the player, because they could have taken anybody at that pick if it wasn't an offensive player to help out. I would have said the same thing. It has nothing to do with this kid personally. It's just more of a like, oh, we now publicly know that Aaron Rodgers is unhappy and wants help and is trying to, hold the franchise accountable and get him some help. And they still are just like, nah. Why? Why help? You don't need help. And so that one, that one really took me not necessarily by surprise. Oh, go for it.
Found one.
I'm just rambling, so go for it.
Tell us.
You may all think I'm crazy. I do not like the Jamar Chase going to Cincinnati at 5.
At 5? Okay.
That's his boy.
I know Burrow wanted it, but have you seen his knee? And have you seen anything offensive line getting better for the Bengals? Nope. Burrow's other knee is going to be the exact same by the end of next season if they don't get it together.
Well, I mean,
so that's very true. That's the thing. So here's the deal. If person A is going to say, hey, the Colts messed up because they didn't go get that left tackle, then you got to hold the same energy to the Cincinnati Bengals, who just lost their quarterback, their rookie quarterback, their number 1 overall pick, their Trevor Lawrence. They lost him for the year early last year because of an ACL, because they couldn't protect him. And so instead of going and grabbing somebody top 5 who, again, could be that Quentin Nelson, that high level generational kind of guy, because they were sitting there, you go and get I understand it's his buddy, but I do see where you're coming from. You go and get more of what I would call, again, a luxury pick at a skill position, instead of getting in the trenches and getting your line sorted out and protecting your young quarterback who's going to be coming off an ACL injury. I see that. That makes a lot of sense as well.
They should have 100% took Sewell, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I like it a lot. So I think, all right, I'll throw it up one more time. Does anybody have anything else from the first 2 rounds of the draft that we want to talk about?
No.
Speak up now, forever hold your peace. All right, we're not touching this subject again with a 10-foot pole. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I will let you guys know next week we will still be talking about the draft. We will be talking about rounds 3 and beyond next week on the MCT podcast, with potentially another guest or even 2. Hold your breath on that one. We'll see.
Or 4.
How the details shake out on that one. Our people got to talk to some people. Got to do what we've got to do. So, but yeah, so I think that just about does it for this. These first 2 rounds of the NFL draft. Of course, don't worry, we will do our picks of the week. Let's get that going. So for this coming week, I am sticking in the realm of Major League Baseball. Even though my Cubs are disappointing me, I still love baseball to death. So we are going to, but there is a very, very, very fun weekend series going on right now, and a very kind of important one, I think, in the National League. That's the Dodgers and the Brewers are going at it this weekend. And the Brewers actually already won the first game of the series last night. So, I mean, that's a potential playoff matchup down the road. Who knows? It's an important one. The Dodgers are on a bit of a skid. They've lost what was it, 7 of 9 or 8 of 10. So they're on a downside right now, and the Brewers are catching them at the right time. The Brewers are getting hot. They're 15-10 right now, leading the NL Central. I'm looking at that Sunday series finale matchup. And I'm actually going to take the Brewers just because, again, those Dodgers are on a slide right now and the Brewers are playing hot. So just kind of how sports go. When you catch a team, at the right time on a cold streak and you're on a hot streak, it's kind of hard to pick against it. So I'm going to go with the Milwaukee Brewers getting the upset win on Sunday. I think it's an afternoon game. So we'll go with like a 6-3 win for those Brewers. A pretty sound win there in that one. Tade, what's your pick of the week this week?
Later this week, we got the Pacers versus the Thunder. The Pacers are just being they're tumbling their way into the playoffs. Their former player, Lees Johnson, just wrecked them the other day when they faced the Brooklyn Nets. So
that's got
great job there, Pritchard. Good giveaway.
Pretty good though.
But I'm gonna go Pacers over the Thunder this week.
Ooh. All right, Michael, what do you got?
I'm going to be talking about baseball, of course, but there is a matchup that I feel like no one is paying attention to, and that is two of arguably the best young talents, and one bat who is rolling hot. The other one's Ronald Acuna Jr. So it's going to be the Blue Jays and the Braves. Vladdy is just on a tear right now. Also, you got guys named, Bo Bichette and Kevin Biggio, which actually, isn't he? Is he hurt?
I think so.
But yeah,
at least he's there. But they got George Springer too.
George Springer. No one cares.
True. Mm-hmm. Continue.
But I'm going to go with Blue Jays 8, Braves 7 in a fun one, I feel like.
All right.
So okay. I'm taking the Braves.
There you go.
Thanks, buddy.
Wait. Which game are you taking, Michael? Did you say?
I just said.
Which one?
Blue Jays.
It's a series. What day? It's a series. They play more than once.
Sunday.
It's kind of how baseball works. Oh
Sunday.
Sunday.
Dude, it's late. It's late. We're all getting tired. It's almost Tade's bedtime. It's way past Carl's.
Hey, I'm an old man.
Speaking of Carl, did you as our guest, we will give you a chance. Do you want to make a pick of this coming week? We'll recap it for you next week. If you got a game that you're intrigued by this coming week, is there anything catching your eye across the wide world of sports?
Oh no, I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now.
Okay. All right, not a problem at all. Well, guys, that's gonna just about do it here for this edition of the MCT podcast. I want to give a very special thank you for Carl, Mr. AKA Gator Ainsworth, for coming on the show this week to talk some football with us. I really love it. Really excited. Really had fun having you on. I appreciate it a lot. Thanks for your insight and everything like that, because we would not be very prepared for the NFL draft. So thanks for picking up some of our slack this week. We really, really appreciate it. Guys, any final notes this week?
I did just make a pick for a game. I don't care which game, but the Red Sox and the Tigers.
Hey, there you go.
The winner is his fandom, by the way.
Winner of that series gets Carl. So you're playing for a lot, Boston.
So essentially, the Red Sox get my fandom apparently, because the Tigers are not all that great. They just smoked out the Yankees earlier.
Oh man. Well, there we go. There it is. Well, again, thank you, Carl, for hopping on this week. Tade, Michael, as every week, thanks for hopping on again. Such a pleasure, such a fun time doing this with you guys. Thank you, the viewer, for watching and listening. We really appreciate it. We're just a few guys that love to get on here, talk shit, and talk sports. So Appreciate it a lot. We will see you guys same time next week. We'll recap the rest of the NFL draft among whatever else happens this coming week in sports. Who knows? Maybe Aaron Rodgers will be in a different jersey this time next week. We'll never know till next week. So we will see you guys then. Have a great rest of your day.